about key details in a story. And with roses are pink and your feet really stink, we've been going over, the problem and the what?
Solution.
Yeah, the problem and the solution. So let's talk about our I can statement. Our I can for today is I can use the details in the story to know or to determine the problem and solution. So here's our essential question. How can understanding the problem and the solution help me understand the characters? And we're going to start to learn a little bit more. Now, readers always go through the story and they think in their head, well, how is the story and how can the problem help me understand the characters better? How can the solution help me understand the characters better? So we're working on that standard, kind of dipping into some first grade standards that tell you that you're going to be able to use the key details to start learning about problem and solution. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, we're doing some first grade work, getting ready for it. Okay, so we have our scale. We're past a 1, aren't we?
Yes.
Way 1. We're past that. We can recognize the characters in the story. We learned that they were Margaret, Louis, and Gilbert. Guess what? You passed a 1. Give yourself a oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then it says, I can identify the characters in the setting and some events in a story. But we're past that too, because we know where the story is being taken place. Who knows where the story is taking place? Raise your hand. Love that. Raise your hand. Where is the story being taken place? Issa.
The story is taking place in the school.
It's being taken place in school. We know that. Give yourself a woo if you thought that.
Woo!
Right, so now we're working on, we kind of retold the story. Now we're going to be working on using the details with the beginning, middle, and end with the problem and the solution. Okay, we're climbing up this ladder, boys and girls, up to a 4, Antonio. All right, so remember what Mr. Ann said last time, what a problem was? A problem is something that causes trouble for the character. It's kind of like when it's raining. And then how are you going to solve that problem?
With an umbrella.
With an umbrella. It's how the problem is solved, that solution. And then we know, kind of like a glass of milk, if it was to be spilled, that's your problem. How are you going to solve it? You're going to clean it up. Yeah, clean it up with the napkin or paper towel. All right. So, what do we say about Sam? Oh, he hit his head. He got a big bump. And his solution was, he got an ice pack and he put it on his head. Let's take a look at another problem and solution. So I'm going to show you how to be able to understand the problem and the solution. So we did this work already, and now we're going to take a look. Wadney Wat. This is the first time you guys are seeing this one. So the problem, this is me modeling and showing you how to explain this. Something that goes wrong. Well, what happened in Wadney Wat that went really wrong? Camilla Capybara, she thought she was the best. That was the problem for the entire class. And then we have the solution. And what happened in solution? How did Wadney Wat solve that problem? How did the classmates solve it? Well, in a game of Simon Says, Camilla, what'd she do? She went what?
West.
She went west and she never came back. That's how they solved that problem. Today, boys and girls, we're going to read the story of Roses Are Pink and Your Feet Really Stink, but the second part of it, yes. And we're going to figure out the problem that Gilbert had and how he had to try to solve that problem. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, and then at the very end, we're going to do the same thing like we did last time. We're going to see if he did a good choice this time or was it another bad choice. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, so give me 1 second, and then I'm going to go grab the book. Hands, and eyes.
Hands, and eyes.
All right, good. Face this way towards the chair. All right, so let's take a look at it. Roses are pink, your feet really stink. We're going to skip because we just did this work right here with realizing his problem was he didn't want to write a good note. That's what we discussed, right? He didn't want to write a good note. So how did he solve that problem? In a not so good way. He ended up writing the other friend's notes. Let's see. Thumbs up when you see a problem, okay? Are you ready to listen?
Yes.
Okay, let's take a look. On Valentine's Day, Gilbert walked to school with 15 cards and a tin of Valentine cookies that his mother had baked for the party. Mrs. Bird let everyone open their cards. One of Gilbert's cards had X's all over the envelope. So he opened it first. It said, "Roses are red, violets are blue. You're my friend, and I like you." It was signed Patty. Gilbert smiled at Patty, and Patty giggled back. Gilbert opened the rest of his card. They were all very friendly. Even Lewis had written a poem for him. "You may be small, you're not very tall, but I like the way that you play ball, Lewis." Gilbert was happy that Lewis liked the way that he played ball. And Margaret wrote, "Sometimes you're very sweet. I hope you brought nice cookies to eat. Love, Margaret." Gilbert smiled to himself. Margaret thought that he was very sweet. He looked over at Margaret. She wasn't happy over one of her Valentines. Here it comes. Remember, thumbs up if you start to hear a problem. Have we heard it yet?
No.
She stuck her tongue out at Lewis. Lewis wasn't happy with one of his Valentines either. He stuck his tongue out at Margaret. Margaret pushed Lewis. Lewis called Margaret a bad name. Mrs. Bird said, "Quiet, please. Valentine's Day is about liking each other and not about fighting." She made the class do the workbooks for the rest of the morning. Everyone was mad at Lewis and Margaret, even Gilbert. Boys and girls, I saw lots of thumbs up. What I want you to do is, if you had your thumbs up, I want you just to go ahead and we're going to turn and talk to our friends, and we're going to talk about what was that problem and why did you put your thumb up? What was the problem that Gilbert went through? Okay, let's find out. Ready? And teach.
Okay. They both didn't fight. They had to do paperwork. They were mad because they were fighting each other. Made them do it.
All right, hands, and eyes. Oh, let's do that one more time. Hands, and eyes. So what was the problem going on? What's the problem? What's the beginning kind of problem that's starting to happen? Malachi.
That he gave them